Yo, what's good everyone? Chapter 1040 of One Piece just dropped, and one thing I just gotta say is One Piece was crazy good this week, and there's a lot of reasons why. Personally, I felt like this finale was significantly better than the one we got last chapter, and it raised a ton of questions, not only about Big Mom's relevance in the rest of the arc, obviously how she's gonna get out of here, but we got a little preview of every other thing happening in Wano at the moment, like Zoro, Brook and Robin, Raizo, and Hiyori and Orochi, along with Yamato. And basically, we're getting that summary of this is what's left, besides, obviously, Luffy versus Kaido. And it has me really excited to see how exactly all these things are going to pan out, but more importantly, how Big Mom is somehow going to get out of here. Because, like she says at the end, it's not enough to kill her. So what exactly is going to go on? I'll get into that later in this video though, but if you do enjoy the video, consider supporting the channel because any support is greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get right into the chapter. So, like the last chapter, this chapter primarily focused on Law and Kid versus Big Mom, which was really sick. I genuinely really enjoyed it. I love the whole idea that she was doing the soul pocus thing that we've seen her do many times, which is essentially if someone's afraid of Big Mom, then she'll be able to take their lives away or force them to do something. And I think that using that as a way to show how determined Law and Kid are was really great. And I felt like genuinely it worked really cool because there were so many other people afraid of her that they kept losing their lives around her. And it felt like the stakes were really high in that moment and also looked really cool. So genuinely like that moment quite a lot. Obviously, this is the thing I want to highlight the most because it was so awesome. Like, I can't get over it. It was the entire Law technique with Corazone's silence technique. I felt like it was so cool, and it really cemented the connection between Corazone's little rooms he was able to do and Law's. It felt perfectly just in sync, and seeing that Corazone's technique is what was used to defeat Big Mom. Well, help defeat Big Mom. Obviously, Kid and Law worked together on this fight entirely. So, essentially, just seeing that technique go into the effort of defeating her was super sick. And I just wanted to talk about it a bit more because I thought it was really cool. I didn't notice this at the start, but it's not called the Kroom. It's a different technique called the R Room. And I'm pretty certain, after thinking it through, that the R is Rocinante, which is Corazone's name. So definitely very cool, and I like how this ability was used basically as a way to make sure that her homies would have no idea that she was in danger, but also for the ending, which I'll get into after I talk about Big Mom's speech, because that was really cool. Big Mom's speech genuinely might be something I'm looking forward to the most through the outcome of Wano and her character development overall, because obviously, like I said previously, I don't think she's done. She literally even says, "Don't think this is enough to kill me." Now, where exactly do I think this is going? I'm not entirely sure, but she's going to somehow make it out of Wano, and somehow she's going to end up on Elbaf when the Straw Hats get there, or something along those lines, because that would just fit so perfectly with her progression moving forward. So I'm definitely thinking that is where it's going to go. However, the thing that I'm really focused on is the things that she was saying about the One Piece. Like, is it real? The fact that she doesn't even know if it's real, but Whitebeard does, just has me so fascinated. Like, how does she not know it's real? She's so desperate for this idea of, I need to know what the One Piece is. What is the One Piece? Dude, why did you start all this? Now all these brats are ruining everything we've had before. It just felt so genuinely just interesting. I don't know. It just felt like she, who's been working hard for so long, trying to make sure she has this place in the higher ups of this world, essentially is crashing down. It reminded me a lot of Doflamingo, where it seems like they're right there at that next rung to be more powerful, but they're just fine where they are. But Big Mom never really seemed like she was fine where she was. She just seemed like she was desperately trying to get there. And I think it's a really cool way of looking at it, genuinely, because Big Mom as a character is just someone who's had this massive network of all these people under her thumb, and she's able to control them at any time. but for some reason she's never been able to make that next step to, becoming the Pirate King. And I just think it's really interesting, and I'm curious what exactly is going to happen for her character overall after this. I have this little idea that she might get amnesia after impacting the ground so hard. I'm not sure if people would like that, but for some reason that's an idea that keeps playing through my head, and that might be a good way for her to end up in Elbaf as well, with her being completely clueless about everything that happened. Maybe sort of like essentially a reset button on her, like she'll see Elbaf and kind of go fully back to her being a kid. I'm not entirely sure, but this idea has been playing through my mind a few times now, so I just want to put it out there and see what people think about it, because having her get all those flashbacks returning to Elbaf would be something I think genuinely could happen. But anyway, back to the ending of the fight itself. Big Mom, surrounded in Law's Room of Silence, is crashing through the entire island of Onigashima, falling onto the mainland of Wano below, which is around the outside of the flower capital, kind of in that desert-like area where Ibisu Town was located in. Not nearby Ibisu Town, though, like just somewhere in that area around the flower capital. And because of Law's silence technique, she crashes straight into the ground in this massive explosion and impact, but because of the massive circle of silence, no one heard a thing. And I just think that's so awesome. Like, literally, what I've been thinking about is the people of Wano still think, man, everything tomorrow is just going to be the same. We're going to have to go back to our dreary lives underneath Orochi, who we all hate. And, it just sucks that this is our one day to kind of celebrate and truly have a good time. And silently in the background, Big Mom was just taken out. It's so crazy to think about. And I'm truly thinking, what exactly is going to happen to this place when they wake up? They all assume, like, oh, everything's just going to be the way it was. And then they wake up and they learn, like, oh, by the way, Orochi's dead, Kaido's dead. Well, not dead, but taken out. I just think it's so interesting, and I can't wait for that moment, because obviously, once they find out, it's literally going to be the dawn of a new era in Wano, and, it's the dawn of a new day, literally, I just think it's a really cool connective tissue, and I am hoping that somehow everything is solved before, the sunrise and all that stuff. I think it would be pretty cool. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about was some of the stuff that we learned after Big Mom, was defeated, and we see that Momonosuke is still receiving sort of messages from Zunesha, and I'm really happy that this plot line is continuing forward, because genuinely, I think that this could add a lot to the story, seeing Momo's furthered connection with Zunesha, and it just has me very fascinated on what exactly is going to happen later on. Maybe we learn some more stuff about the Void Century, like we did at the end of this chapter, where we learned that Zunesha, 800 years ago, was Joyboy's companion. Now, I don't know really what this means whatsoever. I do think that Zunesha having this strong connection to Joyboy makes a lot of sense, because they're both from such a long time ago, and it's really cool to see that this is now just firmly established. But what exactly this is going to entail for the story, no clue. I'm hoping that this is possibly further developed upon in Kaido's flashback, since Kaido knew about Joyboy. I think that maybe he might know about Zunisha's relation to him. I think that would be a cool, unexpected place for this to, pop up in, and I think it could be cool. It might actually be cool if we get a kind of double narrator perspective, where we're seeing Momo talking to Zunesha about Joyboy while Kaido is telling us about Joyboy. I think that would be a cool way of showing the differences in their points of view on the past and what exactly Joyboy means to them. I think it would be pretty cool, and yeah, I'm excited to see where all this stuff about Joyboy has been so hyped up at this point. It's been hundreds and hundreds of chapters, and getting even the smallest bit of insight on this would be really, really sick. But yeah, overall, I think that this chapter, obviously, it ends a massive moment in the arc. Big Mom, who's been a main antagonist of the Yonko saga for hundreds of chapters now, is taken out. She is taken out, and it's just, wow, this is just so sick. Like, this is actually, like, things are rolling right now, you know what I mean? So what I'm thinking, at least my little prediction, is that the Kaido flashback is coming very soon. I'm thinking maybe 3 chapters, because like I said previously during Big Mom's speech, it highlights on some of the other things that are going on, like CP0 going after Brook and Robin. It shows Zoro unconscious and falling off the island seemingly, so that's very interesting. It shows Raizo still in his fight with Fukurokuju, and it shows Yamato with the bombs, and it also shows Hiyori and Orochi. So there's still a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if we're going to immediately see Luffy vs. Kaido while that stuff is going on, so I'm feeling we got 3 chapters of that stuff, but you can obviously also intersperse the Big Mom Pirates, the Marines below, Zunesha, Momonosuke. There's a lot of stuff you can do before we get into Luffy and Kaido, but I think 3 chapters is where it's going to be, and then it'll finally begin. And that's really all my thoughts on the chapter. Not only did we get some really cool action with Big Mom, a really, really great speech from Big Mom about what she thinks the One Piece even is, and how she kind of regrets Roger for even starting all this stuff with the new generation, ending with Corazone's sort of technique being utilized really great, and the reveal of some Zunesha Joyboy connection. What's not to like about this chapter? Anyway, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, consider supporting the channel, you know, the YouTube algorithm spiel, like, comment, and subscribe. Any support would be greatly appreciated because, you know, we're trying to hit that 1,000 this year. So, if you could, greatly appreciated. Anyway, like I said, that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one.